We've got a governor's election coming up in November of next year. I believe this will be an important election that could decide which way Tennessee is led from Nashville. To carry on with me bringing you, the viewer, the candidates for important election, I'm joined by Monty Fritts, representative of the 37th District here in Tennessee. He is running for the Republican nomination in the governor's election. That will come up in August of 2026. Stay tuned as I have a conversation with Monty, and let's find out if he's the right one to lead us for 4 years. We'll be right back.
The Mike Weatherford Show is proud to announce we are now officially powered by TEC. If their fiber optic internet service can handle everything we throw at it here in the studio, from videos to calls and live streams, you better believe they can handle your home or business too. If speed, stability, and service is important to you, you can count on TEC. Thanks, TEC. Now let's get to the show.
Recorded live in the studios of Brewer Street Mafia. This is a Red Dog Bread production.
And now, your number one rated show, The Mike Weatherford Show. Here's your host, Mike Weatherford.
Hey, folks, welcome back to the Mike Weatherford Show. I'm your host, Mike Weatherford. Hey, you know it's that time of year again. Not only is it Christmas and New Year, it's becoming election time. Hey, governor is a very important issue. I mean, sometimes we kind of take it for granted, but it's a lot goes on up in Nashville, and I want to bring you, my viewer, to make sure you understand who all's running, what they stand for, and who we need to support. I've got Mr. Monty Fritts in here. He is a representative in the 32nd District up around Kingston Springs area. He's running for the nomination for the Republican Party in the governor race. And I'm going to have a conversation with him and find out exactly who he is, what he stands on, and where he's headed. And welcome to the show, Monty. I appreciate you coming in.
Hey, brother, I appreciate it. I'm from Kingston.
Kingston. Okay.
On up the other end of the state. I'm about 30 minutes outside Knoxville, but Kingston Springs is where the gremlins come from.
Gotcha. I misspoke. I want to apologize. I remember a little of it.
I always think of that when I go past there. If you remember the movie The Gremlins.
I got you. I got you.
Don't put any water on those furry animals around Kingston Springs.
We're not going to hold it against you because you got one leg longer than the other living in the mountain. It's flatlanders on this end. We got the same length legs. But welcome to the show. I appreciate your time, sir.
I appreciate you letting me come out tonight.
So who exactly is, if you had to explain, who is Monty Fritts?
I'm a Christian. I'm a husband of almost 42 years. I've got 2 boys, 3 grandkids. Part of the reason I'm not crazy about being in politics is because it takes so much time away from the grandkids. But I'm an Army veteran. I think I'm a country boy with a little bit of common sense. I'm somebody that God's blessed tremendously. I'm the person that I will tell you there's nothing I can't do. And I've proven that many, many times. I think the good Lord has a sense of humor, Mike. And I think sometimes he lines some of us up to go do things. And I think he looks around the angels in heaven and he says, watch this. And so I think he's done that with me several times. I'm appreciative of it. I've been a recipient of much of his grace and much of his blessing. And I'm a guy that loves the state of Tennessee. I think this is the sweetest soil in the entire face of the earth.
This is where Jesus, when he comes back, that's where he's going to come. But he's going to come in Hico, which happens to be in West Tennessee first. That's where I live.
Well, I think across the state, God has blessed us with rivers that flow and forests full of timber, fields full of, whether it's cattle or corn or cotton or whatever. God's blessed this state. I think that we're in a little bit of trouble. I'm the guy that thinks that we need to repent in Tennessee.
I kind of agree with you on that. We all need to. But you are a state representative, 32nd District. What inspired you not only to run as governor, but what inspired you to get up off your hind end and go run for public office?
Well, thank you. I got tired of seeing things happen in Nashville that I wasn't happy about. the whole COVID thing, I've been a state rep. This is my second term. I'm finishing up my second term, and I term limited myself to 2 terms, ready to get out of politics. As I told you a few minutes ago, I'm not crazy about being around politicians. But
that's why you don't look in a mirror, right?
Yeah. Well, I try not to be. I think
that's a joke. Lighten you up a little bit.
I think there's a big difference between politicians and public servants.
Gotcha.
And I'm okay with folks using that word. I think that in a time when we've got Mitch McConnell's and Nancy Pelosi's that spend 40 and 50 years enriching themselves off us, and that happens in the state too. Maybe not enriching themselves so much, but the power. People staying too long in politics.
Do you believe that once you stay in there that long, you can lose touch with your people?
I think most have, brother.
Yeah, I think you get into a bubble, and, kind of like national politics, you get on an airplane in New York and you fly to California and you leave in that bubble and you land in the same bubble and you think all the cornfields think like you do. I think you're on to something with term limits. But some people's for it. Some people says that's the only way we can police politicians is by threatening to take them out of office. So it's kind of a catch-22. But what inspired you to go from a state rep all the way up? You kind of skipped a couple of positions there and went straight to the governor.
Well, I really don't think. I think many of the politicians want you to think that you have to pay your dues in politics to be able to run for an office like that. Mm-hmm. I think that many of these people, these D.C. politicians and Nashville establishment politicians, think that you've got to pay your dues to the system. You've got to take money from every PAC. You've got to do what these political bosses tell you to do before you run for office. I ain't that guy. I think our founders expected us to step up and take the reins to the horse occasionally.
That's right.
So I did that as state rep. Again, the whole COVID thing between forced vaccinations and declaring people non-essential because of whatever their career choice was, those are unconstitutional and immoral things to do. And we did that in Tennessee. And so, we spent $550 million of our dollars on the Tennessee Titans Stadium. Right. Massive corporate welfare. And so those things kind of ticked me off. I ran for office. One, we've gotten some pretty good things done, some things that, they tell you when you go to Nashville as a freshman, you just get coffee for people and, make relationships and don't try to do anything. I didn't take that approach. And God blessed it. We were able to do some things that led the nation. Our prayer resolution in 24, no other state's done that in the history of the country.
Wow.
And we declared, July 30 days or 31 days of prayer and fasting in the state of Tennessee. And we did it because back to what I said earlier, I think we need to repent. I think we've allowed ourselves to get to a position that we're not thanking Almighty God, the same one mentioned in Article 1, Section 3 of the Tennessee Constitution. We're not thanking Him for our blessings, and we're not acting like God gave us our rights, and He did. Our Tennessee Republican Party guiding principle, clear. Our rights come from God. But many of these politicians that stay in it, especially the ones that stay for a long time, they start to act like, brother, they are the ones that grant you your rights. That's just not the way it works in America, not in Tennessee.
Are you a what word? A MAGA supporter? Are you a Trump supporter?
I am. I think he messes something up every now and then. I do. I think President Trump does. I think he loves the country. I do think
I agree with that 100%. I do think that's where they're wrong. He does love the country.
And I will tell you something else I think Donald Trump has that most of these politicians don't have. And he's worth however many billions of dollars, right? And he's from New York. So he's never going to think exactly like a country boy from Paris or a country boy from Kingston is going to think. Mm-hmm. But he's more in touch, I think, with the average working class American than 90% of these politicians. I think that's why they hate him so much.
I think that goes back to his years of being in tough New York, building up there, the building and stuff, where he got to meet the bulldozer drivers. He got to meet them people. And I think that you can see that in him. I think that's where that comes from, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Because he can relate to you and I, the average worship. I'm like you. I like Trump. Do I like everything he does? No, but I don't think there's anybody that can be elected that's going to get 100% approval rated. But we're so polarized in this country, in this state, and even this county, in the city we live in. and it's wrong. We shouldn't be so polarized. Has your personal experiences shaped your political beliefs?
Absolutely. I think so. Being a recipient of God's grace and blessing in Tennessee, I joined the service after high school. Never had any intention of going to college.
Thank you for your service. I don't know if I've told you that, but I think I did off the air. But
it was an honor to.
And to let the viewers do understand, this is not made up. You and I had never met till 10 minutes ago.
Yep.
Didn't know each other. Never. I had heard of you, and you'd heard of me, but and we haven't really. I didn't tell you what we was going to talk about. We just kind of cold. Go ahead.
I actually like that. I've done a bunch of interviews, and I think because some politicians demand that they have the questions up front, it sickens me.
It's crazy. And I'm not an interviewer. I'm a conversationalist, if that is a word. Can we use that? Can we make that a word right here on the Mike Weatherford Show? Because interviews, it can be to where I'm digging. I'm either got you or I'm praising you. Conversations, neither. Yeah. I'm just talking with you, asking you think I think the average person walking the streets would like to know about who they elect for governor. I think that's fair. Yeah,
I grew up very much leaning toward construction type stuff, pouring concrete, laying blocks, roofing houses.
Yeah.
Joined the service.
You got them on your hand too? Them calluses on? Look at my hand.
Not like I used to.
Yeah, that's a working man's hand.
Yeah. But I did that. I was fortunate. I found myself working at the Y-12 plant. I went in as security. I'd carried a gun for a living. So I'm probably the only Republican I'm certain I'll be the first governor that's ever been a union steward.
Wow.
And I did that for about 2 years. I think working men and women in Tennessee need a voice. Now, I will tell you, I don't like the corrupt unions at upper levels. I will tell you that. I don't like that. But I think that an employer or manager, I've managed union workforces in 2 different places, large workforces. And the person who thinks he's leading, he better get the input from the people he's leading.
That's right.
And whether you're a soldier or whether you're making uranium products, that's important. So I spent about 10 years in the Guard. I was in the Tennessee Guard. I was in the Texas Guard for a little while. And got out in 93, busy, going back to school. I'd found myself in enriched uranium operations at Y-12. Needed an education if I was going to be able to keep myself off of a swing shift or rotating shift, if you've ever worked those, Mike.
I understand it.
And I've worked 7-day rotations. And went back to school, got out, finished college. Seemed like I was on the 20-year plan, but finished a first degree. And when
you worked in uranium.
Yes, sir.
I don't see, you only got 2 ears and 2 eyes and a nose where it's supposed to be.
You can't see the back of my head.
Okay.
Yeah. That third ear comes on the back of your head.
I got you. You spoke of National Guard.
Yeah.
This is not really on my questions that I want to talk about, but you brought it up. What about the National Guard coming to Tennessee and going to any state doing what they're doing, which is protecting federal buildings? They're not there to harass. And do you support President Trump and Governor Lee's sending the National Guard?
Yeah, I don't think Governor Lee sent the National Guard anyway.
No, but he allowed it. He didn't argue about it.
Yeah, we disagree there.
Okay, I don't know.
I think I've knocked on doors in Orange Mound in Memphis, where the crime is, and those people all want the Guard down there.
Sure, they do.
Because
I've got friends down there that said, yeah, but I'm talking about as the governor. Would you support that?
Absolutely. We should have sent them a long time.
I should have made my question more plain.
We should have sent them a long time ago. If it had not been for Trump, we wouldn't have sent anybody. I'm convinced of that.
No.
We did one of the things that we did that probably led the nation. I talked about that earlier. And I think Tennessee ought to lead the nation in everything.
That's right.
We did an Article 3, Section 5 law. Article 3, Section 5 of the Tennessee Constitution talks about rebellions and invasions and the governor's authority to deploy the militia or the National Guard to put those down. And so I wrote that law, that bill, a couple of years ago. We empowered Governor Lee to send a brigade-sized force to help, at that time, Abbott repel the invasion that was taking place because illegitimate Joe.
We did send some to the border.
Well, illegitimate Joe was in the White House, and he's trying to overrun the country with illegals. And we authorized a brigade-sized force. So you have Title 32 and Title 10. Authorities. Title 32 is under the governor. Title 10 is under the federal government. Yeah, so they had sent the Tennessee Guardsmen. We had about 100 down there before the law passed. There was another group that just left, but as far as exercising the law that we wrote, I can't see that he sent anybody. And we put $5 million behind it. And the whole point behind that was, if you'll remember, Abbott was putting up barriers to keep the illegals out. Remember, you even had a couple hundred bum rush the barriers at one point in time there.
I remember
Houston.
all that.
Yep. And the federal government was coming in and tearing the boundaries down.
We sold some of it.
Yeah.
We sold some of the wall. Yeah. I mean, come on.
Well, I went to the Texas border in 2023. I went and looked at it for myself, and it's worse than what you were seeing on Fox.
I'm sure it is. What do you see the biggest challenges facing our state, Tennessee, right now?
I think it's definitely the budget right now. I think that these politicians in Nashville have gotten accustomed to spending OPM, other people's money. And so in 6 years' time, our budget has gone from $37.5 billion to $59.5 billion. The rumor has it that the governor's people want to put another $5.6 billion on it this year. Hadn't seen that yet, but that's the rumor. 59% growth in 6 years. And we've got a balanced budget in Tennessee,
right,
but quote unquote balanced. It's balanced with federal dollars and state dollars.
Right.
But those dollars have to come from your pocket, Mike, to balance that.
What about the rainy day money we have? Why do we have such a large rainy day fund, money in the bank, piggy bank? Why does Tennessee have such a large one?
Yeah, I don't think our rainy day fund is as large as it needs to be honest.
What is it?
Yeah,
last time it was like $10 billion.
Yeah, the last time I looked at it, it was about 23 or 26 days of operation of the state government.
Well, that's a lot.
Yeah. That's
and coming from someone that know that I pay my fair share of taxes.
Yeah.
I don't know what fair share is, but I believe I pay my fair share.
Yeah.
That's a lot of extra money. Yeah. Why would we not have sure we got to have every business in a state is not a business because they produce nothing. The government produces nothing. Yeah. They're not a producer of a product and they sell it and take profits. Yeah. They just rely on me to give them their money to. Why do we have to have that kind of money in rainy day? Can I not feel overtaxed when the government's got extra money laying over here in the county?
I think you're missing what you ought to be upset about.
What am I missing?
First, they don't ask you to give it to them; they take it.
Well, you're right. They take it. You're right.
They take it. And what you ought to be upset about is the fact that we spent $550 million a few years ago on a Nissan Titan stadium.
That
you ought to be.
I am.
You ought to be a little bit upset.
I'm upset on both.
You ought to be a little upset that we spent $13.5 million this year on a Smoky Stadium in Knoxville.
But still, we got a budget. We got it to pass, and we're overtaxed, but we overspend. But we got a budget. We got a surplus of money. And that kind of, as a taxpayer, I'm not a politician. I'm a mechanic. If you really don't know what I am, it happens to have a microphone for fun. I don't get paid to do this. But I'm speaking for the people that gets up every day, goes to work, works all day, comes home, they're 1 or 2 paychecks away from being what we used to call the poorhouse. Yeah. You look up there in the federal government spending $60 billion a year, and they got $10 to $15 billion laid back, maybe more. I feel kind of overtaxed. And you see where I'm coming from?
I think you're overtaxed. But again, the federal government is spending much more than $60 billion a year.
Oh, I understand. We're talking about Tennessee.
The state government's right at $60 billion.
Yeah.
And they are taking that money from you.
Yeah.
And you want some rainy day fund as a state government, just like
you have to have a little bit.
Because think about what happened up in Upper East Tennessee with Helene.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
You have lots of people hurt.
You're right, but the federal government's supposed to help us. That's a different subject, And what is your stance on political accountability, and how would you implement it?
Well, I think a couple things, but I'm going to go back to the other questions. We hadn't finished that yet.
Okay.
I think that you really should be upset that your money's going to other businesses to recruit them to come here. So when's the last time the state of Tennessee sent you a check to help with your
I've never
auto
got
shop?
a check.
Yeah, how about
the only check that I've ever got, you asked a question, I'm going to tell you, was when George Bush Jr., the younger one, when he got into office, I got a $625 tax refund.
Yep.
And you would have thought that I won the lottery. Because in 40 years, or really my entire life, I've been self-employed, running papers and stuff like that. I've never got a refund. And I felt good. I've always been the other way. I've always given money and watching other people get a refund. I felt good.
And
go ahead.
And that refund you got was your money. You'd send in and they sent it back to you.
Yes, sir. No, it wasn't. I didn't pay in $1,000 to get $2,000 in tax back. No, sir. I paid in about $20,000 in tax and got $652. But go ahead.
So what I'm
that was a stimulus.
What I'm referring to is that money that comes out of your pocket and my pocket and those folks back in the back's pocket, and we send them to a corporation from somewhere else.
Oh, I agree. I'm with you all the way.
That's the thing we ought to be the most upset. And I think that's the first part of accountability.
Well, if they didn't spend it there, sir, I hate to interrupt, that would make our windfall extra money be even more.
No, it would mean that we should stop taking so much money from you.
That's a point.
That's what we need to do. We need to leave more money in your pocket. That's my intent to do that.
Right.
Property taxes is something we need to work on.
I'm going to get on that.
Grocery sales tax is something that we need to work on.
That. We need a lot of things we need to work on.
And leave that money in the average person's pocket in Henry County. Leave it in Henry County rather than having to go with your hand stuck out to Nashville to say, give me a grant.
What I've always said, and you can correct me where I'm wrong, Washington don't know what Tennessee needs. Tennessee don't know what Henry County needs. Henry County don't know what the city of Paris needs. And really, the city of Paris don't know what I need.
Yeah, that's a pretty good way of putting it.
And because as a small business owner, I need you to get out of my way.
That's
all I need. I need you to give me a good road to drive on so my parts can get here.
Electricity, and
just kind of leave me alone, you know. And anyway, moving on, getting back to the accountability on political accountability.
Let me go to the accountability there, Max. You touched on something good there. While we're spending your money on corporate welfare,
right?
Those infrastructure needs that you just mentioned,
are suffering.
And so how about we leave more money in your pocket? How about we leave more money in Henry County to deal with the things Henry County needs to deal with?
Because we know what we need.
And how about rather than putting money into corporate welfare, we start investing in infrastructure and make sure that we produce enough kilowatts in the state of Tennessee, enough potable water, enough sewage, and let's do something with the roads.
There's a lot of questions. You open up so many rabbit holes, but I promised myself I wouldn't go down every one of them because there's a lot of conversation that we could talk about. But I just want to hit some points, and I think that the viewers would like to know about Mr. Fritts.
And last thing I'd offer on accountability would be this.
How would you implement some accountability? What would you put in place as the governor that the governor's powers can do? I understand you're not that you can't do a lot as governor. You kind of watch our budget and watch our property and put your agenda out there. I do understand that. What would you like to see happen?
Yeah, one of the first things I do for the accountability part is right now I don't think the Nashville establishment thinks they work for you. And we need to recalibrate.
Well, we had a politician that run and hated Nashville. You recall what I'm not going to say name, but that's exactly come out of their palace. They hate Nashville, but vote for me. That's kind of
So back to the accountability thing. I think what we would do. I know what I'll do. Is those people right now that work as legislative liaisons they actively work against your rights or for a bill or try to carry legislation for the governor. We're going to move those over to the governor's helpline because I think when Mike Weatherford calls with a complaint about the road, you ought not have to just call Tandy Darby.
That's right.
Tandy Darby's a good man.
Sure.
But he doesn't have the authority to make the Department of Transportation do anything. That's
it's a damn mess. You got TDOT and TDX. The hell, they don't even know what each other's doing. That's a different story. You don't have so many rabbit holes for me. I promise you, Kevin, I'm trying to stay focused. Go ahead.
Yeah. So the last thing is I would say about that is those people need to realize that they work for the folks of Tennessee. And the governor ought to be briefed on a regular basis by his commissioners where they have gotten information from the average citizen on what we're doing well on and what we're not doing well on. Last thing I'll say on accountability.
I'm with you. As long as you want to talk.
Every one of these commissioners and every employee in the state of Tennessee, especially these senior levels, they need to be versed in the U.S. and Tennessee constitutions. Because not only do many of them think they don't work for you in the Nashville establishment, many of them think that Constitution don't matter. We better get back to that.
You hit on something right there that you're really making it hard on an old boy like me to not tell what I think about a lot of these offices I have to deal with in the state of Tennessee. I can just say this: I can call, and I feel like that I'm not speaking English because they don't know what the hell I'm saying. They don't care what I'm saying, and just send me a check. You're right to check out the Tennessee Department of whatever that I happen to say I owe, and this is your amount, and there's no argument. And that kind of irks me, but still, if you're going to rob a man, come on.
Yeah, well, let me see you. I'll go chase you down that rabbit hole because I saw something just recently. The Department of Health was celebrating Islam in Tennessee. Oh. Yeah. Wow. And not only did they put it on their website digitally in English, but guess what other language they put it on? Arabic.
Yeah.
Accountability for the Tennesseans says we speak in English.
It does.
We don't print anything in those other languages, nor do we provide it.
But you drive down some of them roads in Nashville, it's becoming Arabic signs everywhere. I used to own some property up there, and I sold it, and it's Arabic now.
Yeah, we better get control of that. I don't want Tennessee to be Minnesota. Nor
we have
New York.
got to get a hold of a lot of issues.
Yes, sir.
You hit on something a while ago. The new property tax assessment. You spoke a little bit on this. Somebody told me. Somebody sent me a thing. Asked him about he wants to abolish property taxes. I don't think that's true. What you said.
Well, that's
what are you saying?
So the bill I've got that you'll see from me this year, and what I support right now, is to do two things. One is we have this shell game going right now with your taxes. We have this net neutral first year net neutral.
That's
thing.
right.
And so because so many people are moving here, all of our real estate's gone up.
Sure.
I want to fix our real estate values at 2020 or what you've paid for it, because I think your truck, your car, your drag race car that you have is only worth what you'll pay for it, not what somebody appraises.
That's right.
So I want to stop that. And secondly, I don't think any Tennessean, me and you, unfortunately, we're getting up in that age where we're older.
Yeah, we are.
And for everybody, but it's going to impact the older folks the most.
It is.
A Tennessee citizen, a U.S. citizen, should never be evicted from their property because they have fallen delinquent in their property tax. They shouldn't have it sold on the courthouse steps.
That's right. I agree. So you're wanting to, let me make it so you can clarify. You're saying we're going to put a limit on what the value of a house can be. Let's back it up to 2020 is what you're saying. Did I understand that right? What
the bill says is it fixes it at 2020 value or what you've paid for it since.
Right. And what is it?
And
when does that expire?
Wouldn't expire. Wouldn't expire
from now on. To 2300 it'd still be taxes on 2020.
If you owned your house for 50 years, it would stay at that value. But if you sold it and I paid more for it, then I would pay taxes on what I bought your house for.
Got you. That's kind of I don't like to use the word pyramid, but it's kind of a pyramid. It's a stacked deal there where you pay value of what the house brung, not what they say it's worth.
Not an assessment. I'm trying to get the assessment out of it.
Well, why would that not get support?
I think the public's going to love it. I think the politicians probably won't love it.
Yeah, if you're going to take their purse strings, sure.
Well, they're good at spending OPM, brother.
That's right. They are. You're right. How will you address the challenges faced by rural communities in terms of economic development? Let me. There's a two-prong. Everybody was bragging about the big old one. And I happen to be one of the few that said it's never going to build an electric car because that's what I do for a living. And not that I got a crystal ball. I said it's not going to happen. Zero chance they're going to be building electric cars in Memphis. There's not a market for them. There was a small market, and it kind of whoever wanted one bought one. But now let's look at the rural areas. What would you as Governor Fritts do to help us in the rural areas with our economic development?
Yeah, I think one of the first things we've got to do is take care of the infrastructure because all of our economics depend on the infrastructure. And if you take it back first,
yes, sir.
I'll give you the 2 E's, maybe 3, but we'll start with 2.
Yeah.
The first one's electricity. Right now, 1 out of 4 kilowatts that we use in the state of Tennessee is coming from outside the state of Tennessee. That's USTVA, right? The governor doesn't get to tell them what to do.
That's federal.
But the federal folks aren't doing their job.
Now, Trump's tried. Trump did some stuff.
Trump is, but Congress has failed us miserably on that.
That's a different subject. I'm going to talk on that in a couple months.
We continue to shut down coal-fired
That was
plants.
my question. Why? And we'd have nothing to replace it. Yeah. It's kind of like the patients are running the Saint Asylum. How can you sit here and tear down a coal plant knowing that Tennessee's growing? We're wanting industry to come here. We got to have the electricity, got to have the infrastructure, the grid, but you're tearing it down. And what are you replacing it with? A little gas. Build coal plants back.
Absolutely.
That's my question. But anyway, how would you help us? At roads, Henry County happens to be a long way from the interstate.
Yep.
And to get there, you got to go some 2-lane highways. And that's kind of in itself, there's no way around that because the interstate does not run through Henry County. But there's other issues that as a governor you can do to help us rural communities develop.
Yeah, I think a couple things. Let's go back to electricity first.
Right.
Because I think that's tremendously important.
Right.
If we can't produce the kilowatts, every business, we're more dependent on kilowatts than we are water, Mike.
Yeah.
Because we don't have water without it.
That's right.
And we better get that under control. I set up an energy policy my first year in the General Assembly Second year in the General Assembly, I set up an energy policy council, restructured the energy policy council. So we've got non-paid, volunteer, subject matter experts to help us make good decisions.
Right.
So I think that's tremendously important. Second thing, get the Tennessee government out of your business. And when you start talking about removing taxes, when you start talking about limiting regulation, you mentioned earlier, seems like every time you turn around, somebody's got their hand stuck out, just pay me this.
It ain't seems like it is, but go ahead.
Yeah, we have to stop that.
Yeah.
And that is going to result in a revenue reduction. We've got to stop spending money on those corporate welfare matters and focus on what's good for all Tennesseans.
Well, do you think that I'm going to be devil's advocate. Do you think that the new Titan Stadium is going to bring in revenue? Do you think the one up in East Tennessee you're talking about, the Smoky, is that going to bring in? Is the dollar going to be like a tourist dollar they claim? You spend $1, it brings in 100. You don't think that's going to happen?
I think it will bring in some money. I think that you'll never see $1 from either one of those here in Paris, Tennessee.
Gotcha. Oh, you're correct. I'm talking about as a state, but I did put my share. But there's 95 counties divided by how many millions?
Yeah, 550 million.
Well, that's a lot per county.
It is.
You know, I'm pretty good at math, so I know that's a large number. So to help our economic development, we need electricity, and I agree. You hit the nail on the head. I don't know why we're tearing down our grid and not replacing it, and we got to have roads.
Yes.
Nashville is pitiful. We used to be the best roads that truck drivers would tell me, I can't wait to get the Tennessee line. And now they can't wait to get out of the Tennessee. What is that? What in the hell has happened?
I don't know.
We're paying. We got a wheel tax passed, right? I mean, excuse me, gas tax. That was a deal here in Henry County. I'm not sorry. A gas tax that's supposed to be earmarked just for our roads. But the cost of roads, it went up, they claim. That's the reason why we're not getting as much done. So they thinking about raising a wheel tax. I don't know what the hell's going on. You go to Nashville, man, it's like off-rolling. Yeah. It's sad. Yeah. And what are we going to do as a governor?
Yeah, I think a couple things. One is look at the contracts we're using. I'm not sure that we put the correct performance measures in the contracts that we let out to have the road construction done.
Gotcha.
Because it's become construction in perpetuity. It just goes on and on and on.
It never ends. It's like that tunnel in Boston. They still build on that, ain't they?
I don't know.
I don't think it ever got built.
I don't know. I don't know the tunnel in Boston. But here, it's become a construction in perpetuity. I think we need to look at how we measure the contracts. I think we need to look at where that money's going.
Right.
Because we did raise additional funds back, 6 years ago?
Possibly, yeah.
Are the roads any better?
No. They're less.
No.
But they claim it's more traffic. But it costs more to do a mile of highway. Well, you know, we can fix a lot of – and I'm going to bitch if you was the governor. I'm treating you like a governor. The cost of a highway is set on a lot of regulations, Mr. Fritts. The more we regulate a road, the more it's going to cost to build that road. Yep. You know, we got to quit worrying about this and that. We got to worry about what makes the cost come down. We've got a good base. Tennessee was fixed well with the base. All we got to do is get the top. And we're coming up with all kind of stipulations. Well, we got to do this, we got to do that. It's raising the cost. We cut the bull crap. Does that make any sense? Am I crazy?
It makes absolute sense. We just had one of the exits in my Roane County coming in, and there's a new truck stop type thing coming in there. And it was an argument about when the owl season was so that they couldn't dig, or whether we had a wetlands, what you and I would call a ditch was in a wetlands. Yeah. The regulation and the way that we overreach those things.
I got some farmlands, and I have asked for help, and they have to go out there. This is a true story, and it's not about me, but I understand where you come from. I'm going to make it a little bit easier when you get to be governor to understand. They come out there with a net because see if it's a blue stream or a dry stream. You understand the difference? Because I had some washing issues. It was draining about 1,200 acres through my little old ditch, and I said, hell, I shouldn't be the catch-all for all this. Well, they've got that designated blue stream, which means it's a year-round stream. I said, yeah, it's only wet when it rains. So they come out there with a net and walk through it and said, yeah, you're right. So they changed it from a blue stream to a dry stream, which means we can spend money on it. So I guess I can keep losing my farm if it was a blue stream. I couldn't fix it. Does that make any sense? Either way or not, it needs to be fixed because it's erosion. It's taking land away. I've got land on the other side of a ditch that it used to be on the other side, sir. But it all debated on if they could help me or not help me, which they didn't help me, but it didn't matter because if it was a wet stream, blue stream, they wouldn't do it. So I guess I just, have to lose my farm. But anyway, we're saying electricity and roads is where we need to go to try to help us.
Several things. Solid waste has got to be one of the infrastructure things we look at in Middle Tennessee.
Yeah.
Because we have a solid waste issue.
Right.
Why wouldn't we be investing in infrastructure that would reduce the volume of solid waste? And let's do it by burning it. Let's make some electricity for peak demand times on that.
Right.
Let's relook at the policies with TVA about how much people are recovering for having solar cells. Having our farmland covered with solar panels is a stupid idea. It is a stupid idea.
I've heard that.
But there are rooftops that if you wanted to provide electricity for this during peak times, store it in a battery bank or sell it back to TVA, it might make sense if you were recovering an equitable amount of money for that. But right now the rates are set so low that it's not to your economic advantage to do that. We need to be looking at those kinds of things. We need to be looking at when we're using gas, because we're putting in gas, I think. We're putting in gas systems to replace coal. There's 9 coal burners at the Kingston steam plant.
Right.
And they want to replace them with gas.
What are we doing?
Well, we're going to pull in a 30-inch in-bridge line, and we're going to use every cubic foot of that natural gas to make electricity. Why wouldn't we heat our water in our homes and heat our homes with the natural gas? Yeah. And let's make electricity with coal.
I have to agree with you. I've got to take a commercial break because I got to pay the bill so I can pay my taxes. Will you hang around? Let's finish up this conversation.
Yes, sir.
All right, folks, I've been sitting there talking with, he is running for the Republican nominee for the governor of Tennessee. We have a good conversation. I mean, I think he's really got some good ideas. So we're going to take a commercial break. I got to pay the bills. We'll be right back.
Chad Cox, PLLC, provides representation in the areas of criminal law, family law, personal injury, wills and probate law. Chad Cox serves Paris and the surrounding area. He does not believe in a one-size-fits-all approach to representing his clients. He reviews every detail of your case to ensure that you receive an assessment that is specific to the unique circumstances in your case. Chad Cox is located at 104 North Brewer Street, Paris, Tennessee. Contact us at 731-642-4446.
The Downtown Event Center is available for parties, meetings, or family get-togethers. The center comes with spacious seating and an area that will help make serving food easier. If you are having a birthday party, this is definitely the place for you. The Downtown Event Center is located at 107 South Brewer Street. Contact Jessica at 731-642-4992 to make your reservation.
Is your tank on empty? For best gas prices in town, fill up at 54 Fuel Mart, 1213A Westwood Street. And don't forget your other tank. Grab hot fried chicken, wings, pizza, and on Tuesdays and Fridays, the best fried fish around. Got a sweet tooth? We've got freeze-dried candies, candy bars, and more. Rainy day? Stay dry and use our drive-up window. Farmers, we've got your dyed diesel plus parking for big rigs. Open 5 a.m. to 10 p.m. every day. If you're feeling lucky, play the lottery or grab a scratch-off while you're here. 54 Fuel Mart at the Westwood Y. More than just fuel.
still undecided about your high-speed internet provider? Hey, it's Mike from the Mike Weatherford Show. Let me help you off the fence. TEC high-speed internet is what we use here at the studio, and let me tell you, it's flawless. From home to business, TEC got you covered. With upload speeds that match download speed, TEC leads the pack. Does your family play online games? How about security cameras and live streamers in your home? TEC, with their upload speed matching their download speed, it's as fast as clicking a button. When it comes to high-speed fiber optic internet, TEC is unmatched with quality and service all across the Mid-South. So do like I did. Go get you some.
Hey everyone, this is Jeremy Buckaloo reminding you to tune in to Sportscast with Jeremy Buckaloo live every Sunday night at 7:30 here from the Brewer Street Mafia Studios.
Hey folks, I got a great show next week. You're going to like it. My friend Tommy Akers is going to be live in the studio. He's released a new album. He's going to be singing some of the songs live right here in the studio next week. Along with Andy Lundberg, going to be in there sitting with me, and my buddy Terry Hudson over at the Breakers. Maybe I can talk Terry into telling us what some acts he's got coming in next year. Hey, maybe I can poke him so we all know what's coming on. So don't forget, next week coming up Tuesday, December 23rd, Tommy Akers going to be in the house. He's going to let us hear his new album he's got released. It's going to be a great time. Don't miss it. Coming up Tuesday, 7 p.m. right here live on the Mike Weatherford Show. Hey, don't forget over my brother's show here, the Sportscast Live with Derek Buckaloo. He got Christmas Spectacular. Gordon Hyatt, Ron, and Luke Brown's coming in, and I don't have the clue what they're going to talk about, but it's going to be great. Because don't miss it. It's coming up Sunday, the 21st at 7:30 p.m. That's Sportscast Live with Jeremy Buckaloo. Hey, do me a favor. If you ain't done it yet, find Jeremy, follow him. If you see him on YouTube, hey, follow him over there. Run him up the flagpole because, hey, he's bringing you great sports show. He's even had NASCAR on the show. Hey, we got some more great shows. I'm going to get on here with him. I've got some Street Outlaws. You know what that is? So you better follow him so you can keep up with all these great shows. That's every Sunday, 7:30 p.m. Sportscast Live with Jeremy Buckaloo. Hey, don't forget my friend Dave Vance got Islam Down Under coming up. How radical Islamists are making gains while the government does nothing. Greg Hearn is going to be over on his show. That's Monday, December 22nd, 7 p.m. That's a Tennessee Informer. He's on YouTube. If you ain't found him, go find him. It's a great show. You don't want to miss it. It's going to be Monday, December 22nd, 7 p.m. Islam Down Under with Greg Hearn right on the Tennessee Informer. Hey, don't forget, I'm going to tell you how to save you a little money right here before Christmas. If you haven't done it yet, you need to do this. You need to call your family and your friends and say, hey, I've got this TEC high-speed fiber optic internet, and I want you to join with me. With everybody that joins up under your name, you get a free month. And guess what? There's no limit. So if you got a lot of friends and a lot of family and everybody that signs up, you get a free month of internet, high-speed fiber optic internet. What better way to get a good Christmas present? Hey, go on over to your friends and your family and tell them, go get them some TEC fast internet like I got here at the Mike Weatherford Show and get you a free month of it. Don't forget Peddler Advantage. Hey, they're serving 9 counties. I think it's 30,000 papers to give away. And all you got to do is go over there and place your 20-word classified to run for 4 weeks for only $10. Hey, after Christmas, all that stuff you're going to get you really don't want when mama ain't looking, run over to the Peddler, put it in the Peddler for $10. It runs for 4 weeks for free. And while you're there, be sure and look at the Peddler. It's got myparishtv.com. It tells you everything going on at the Tennessee Informer, the Mike Weatherford Show, and Sportscast Live with Jeremy Buckaloo is all listed right there in the Peddler Advantage. Go get your free copy today. Hey, don't forget, we're here at the Mike Weatherford Show. We're on all the major platforms. We're simulcasting live both on Facebook, YouTube, all the platforms. I don't know where all they're at, but we're everywhere. If you haven't done it yet, go find us, go follow us, go share us, subscribe, whatever, bell, whistle, whatever you got to do, go push it, get involved, and Tune in each week. All right, folks, we've been sitting here talking with, he is the Republican nominee candidate for the governor, Mr. Monty Fritts. We've been talking about what he would do, what he wants to do if he gets elected governor. That's a pretty important, pretty important position to have as the governor of Tennessee, because we've got some trying times ahead of us. And he said we've been spending money like drunk sailors. So he wants to bring all that in. And I'm going to finish up the conversation. You didn't leave.
I did not. Yes, sir.
It wasn't that bad, was it?
No, it wasn't that bad.
The pill was, you could swallow it, couldn't you?
Yes, sir.
What would your strategy be as governor? What can the governor do to bring high-paying jobs and in our economic development? You know, I did a show last week about mental health and homelessness. A study out of your part of the country, East Tennessee, said for a 2-bedroom, 1-bath apartment, the labor had to be, your pay had to be $27 an hour to be able to afford that. Yeah. We're in trouble. Yeah. Because $27 an hour is not the average pay across the state of Tennessee. Yep. And rent has gone way up, so there's no way to counter that, because as long as there's a demand, there's going to be the price going to go up. We as Tennessee and you as going to have to help us bring in higher paying jobs. How would you do that if you got elected governor?
Well, I think there's 2 or 3 things there. I think part of, you mentioned the housing, you know, as far as the cost for a new house or the cost to pay rent. Several things have added to that. The fact that we've recruited lots of folks to come into the state's not helped. The fact that we're overrun with illegals has not helped. Because when I sat on the campus, UT campus, with some of these college Republicans or the Turning Point kids, their number one issue is illegal aliens. And they quickly take that to, we can't afford rent or we can't afford a house, because those 21 million, Trump's number, 21 million illegals that come in under Biden, they're under a rooftop somewhere. And we're competing for those. And just like anything, if you've got a higher demand than what you've got the product or the
supply
service,
and demand, yeah,
it takes it up. So
what would you do as governor? Number one thing would get rid of some of the illegals, but I think high-paying jobs. But we don't have the. This is kind of. I'm going to go ahead and get into my other question while we're talking about it. Your trades. You know, we've sat back and allowed China to take our trades from us. We don't build anything hard in this country no more. Nobody wants to go to trade school to be a carpenter. Nobody wants to be a plumber, electrician, auto mechanic. The CEO of Ford said the other day, I heard him talking about across the Ford dealerships, which is, there's a lot, but it's not many compared to the big as the country is. They were 6,000 technicians short. Well, I'm going to tell you, across the country, we're nearly 1 million techs short. And I found out, because that's my line of work, what it is these people are not going to trade schools. They're not learning to work on automobiles. They're not learning to be electricians. They're going to college. They're getting in debt because they've been told, if you don't go to college, you'll be a plumber. You'll be an electrician. Well, it's times are about here, Mr. Fritts, where a guy that'll dig a ditch will make more money an hour than a doctor will. So what will you do as governor to help us get the trades built back up? That's what we're lacking, which will bring the high-paying jobs. So I think I'm going to tie them two together if you allow me.
Yeah, I think continuing some of the good things I think we're already doing with Tennessee Board of Regents on being able to set up TCAT programs to be able to train technicians, auto repair technicians, carpenters,
all the trades,
plumbers, yes sir. Boiler makers, pipe fitters. We need those. I think working with the skilled craftsmen to be able to develop that next generation of workers. I think I got a call from a friend of mine I'd actually worked overseas with, who is a union representative up in Oak Ridge. He's one of the I think he's probably their business agent, right? And he said, we're bringing folks in to build some of these new facilities from out of state, and we're bringing in probably unskilled labor to do that. Now that's their view of it. Right?
Understand?
We need to be a Tennessee first.
Yeah.
And
but we can't get it.
First.
I can't find auto techs. The carpenters can't find carpenters. We've competed with the colleges. They have saturated the market with colleges. And it's not, and people think I'm against higher education. No, I'm not against higher education, but everybody don't need to go to college. Some people just get up and go to work. We have paved the way to go to college.
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
By grants and loans.
Yeah.
But we kind of we throw the bridge, tuck the bridge out, going to these trades. How can you expect Tennessee to grow when you get rid of the illegals? Nobody's going to roof your house. Nobody's going to do that. We've got to do better on the ground, and that's always been my issue. And I'm going to bitch at you because you're sitting there about it, because that's what I do. We have turned our back on the trades, and we're paying for it, and we can't fix it overnight. 10 years from now, you won't be able to probably get your automobile fixed unless you wait 2 months or 3 months. It's according to what and you'll pay more per hour to get your car fixed than you will at the doctor's office. Now, go ahead,
Yeah,
sir.
we're already struggling with plumbers and so many of those other crafts you mentioned. The same thing now.
Yeah.
You want to.
Yeah, it's
you want
awful.
something fixed. It's
awful.
It's hard to find the
They
person
pick
to do it.
jobs. It's so
Well-
bad right now you can pick a job. I'm busy. This job pay me more than that job. And it shouldn't be that way. It's because and I'm talking about we, all the way from parents at home, counting myself, I got kids who went to college. We did it wrong. We've got to go back and say this is not the route to be. Go ahead, sir. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think we've done some things wrong. I don't think it's too far past to course correct some of that.
But we won't see the results for a long time.
And I think there's nothing wrong. I know lots of young people that do an engineering degree and then get into some mechanical work where they sheet metal workers or something along those lines. So I think there's a good merge for that at some point in time. I think we've got the infrastructure in place in Tennessee.
We're getting it there. We got a TCAP coming here.
We've got the infrastructure in place to put out some craftsmen and craftswomen. I guess if it's
but we can't grow the state without it.
Absolutely,
we can't. We got you can't have a college if somebody builds it.
Yeah,
you can't have a nuclear reactor or a coal fired plant unless somebody builds it
and maintains it.
Exactly.
You got to have the machinists that work
Well, I
on the
bitched
turbines.
enough about that. That's just a personal problem there. Farming, and farm related jobs are a big part of Tennessee's economy. You agree, right? Right now they're struggling. What can the state do to combat the bankruptcies and the downturn of family farmer operation? And do you see the tariffs being part of the issues?
I actually think the tariffs that Trump put in place are trying to help get us set back up so that America is making stuff. I really think that. And I think that we need to, whether it's free trade or fair trade, whatever word you want to use for it, we're getting stuck on those deals right now.
We're getting hammered.
From NAFTA on, we have been hammered on the trade deals.
Perot said that loud sucking sound.
And it has sucked our jobs overseas. And I actually think that what Trump's doing there makes a whole lot of sense to be able to get them back in. And I'm sure it has caused some short-term problems. If we're trusting the Chinese to be our buyers for our farm products, we're already in trouble.
We are.
We
got an issue. It's the input cost of farming. The input cost is the cost of your equipment. And now farms are having to compete with developers. They either grow crop or put a housing project on it. There's a competition right there. So don't you think there shouldn't be something the state does about China and these large corporations buying up this farmland and developing it? I mean, you can't cut down with so many apple trees before you ain't got no apples, right?
Well, first, I don't think Jay Reedy did some good stuff with foreign property ownership. He carried some of those bills. Yeah. I think we're ready to take that to the next step.
We are.
If no foreign ownership of any Tennessee soil, period.
Well, that's not.
It doesn't matter if you're an adversarial nation or not.
Sure. That's not a federal. That's a state right.
We should be fixing that.
We cannot allow these big corporations overseas to come in and buy our farmland, and they're going to control our soup beans and our cornbread. That you can't. That's insanity. What can you do as the governor?
So then I think some things that you need to do with on the farming side of it is remove some of the regulation that's burdening the farmer, I think.
Cost of tractors,
and the ability to just work on your own tractor.
Oh, that's
right.
There's something going on now to where I have to, and we fought it back in the 90s when OBD2 come out, where we forced, as independent auto repairers, the manufacturers to put a port in there that was universal within 2 foot of the steering column. So as independent guys, they're doing it again. They're wanting to charge me up to $5,000 a year to be able to plug into your car. John Deere Tractors is doing that.
Yeah. So you know what that's probably a result of, Mike? That's probably a result of a very effective lobby from John Deere.
It is.
That are paying politicians to vote.
But that ain't a Tennessee problem. That's why I didn't really bring it up. That's more of a federal problem. But we got to look at these farmers. they're struggling, right? I got friends, because I'm doing a show at the end of this month with farmers about what their struggles, what their needs are. And they're telling me it's input. Input means the cost of farming. No, you can't put $600 an acre in a crop and get $400 when you sell it. I mean, you don't have to be an economist to realize that's not going to work long. You know, do you know how to lose $1 million in farming? Start with $1 million.
Yeah.
We got issues with farming, and that's something that I think that the state of Tennessee needs to address.
Yeah, and so I don't think there's any easy answers to those.
Lots
of people are looking for a quick fix. There is not a quick fix. Let me finish that thought.
Yes, sir.
There's a whole lot of people that we have allowed to be in charge of things for some time that have sold out the American worker, the American farmer, the American small business. Mm-hmm. And many of those, in some cases, were large American businesses that sold us out. They moved their manufacturing operations overseas, and then we find ourselves being controlled by something as small as that microprocessor that goes in a tractor or an F-150 or whatever the case may be.
Look at Ford. They had thousands of vehicles sitting in abandoned football fields waiting on a chip.
Yeah. So there's not a quick fix out of some of that. There's not. And so you have to decide. There's a couple things you mentioned. You said a lot there. Let me touch on some.
I know I did.
We should prohibit foreign ownership of Tennessee soil. I think we should do that. I think we should make conditions in Tennessee unfavorable for illegals to want to be here. We shouldn't be paying for their education. We shouldn't be paying for their SNAP benefits, anything.
Agreed.
And they'll go somewhere else. Because people are like cows, are like gas or liquid flow. They go the path of least resistance.
That's exactly.
And so we have to.
Freeloaders do that anything. You don't have to be a little immigrant. Go ahead.
We have to be able to stand up and do some of that in Nashville. So far, we've not had the will to do that. I think that we've probably got some wealthy people. It's kind of like those rich men north of Richmond in the song. Sure. I think we've got some of those around Nashville and Knoxville and Chattanooga, probably Memphis, that are making money off of keeping illegals here.
That's right.
And we're going to have to address that.
The corporations, profit's not a dirty word. Mm-mm. It's not. You have to have a profit. I understand that. But when this is not about you, but it's going to be another one of my bitches. When you've got parts stores that I buy my parts from, when the only thing they're worried about is their stockholders. Number one, their quality goes down. Their customer service goes down. And all they're trying to do is they can get to their stockholder and say, look, our stocks are up this year. That's a lot of problem. And I don't think that's a state problem. That's just a personal opinion that probably has nothing to do with you and our conversation, but that's a lot of your problem. And that's probably in other industry too, where they're worried about their stockholders more than they're worried about anything. And that's made these businesses go off coast and get their products, Mexico, China, wherever. Sure. There's people building parts in China that I know for a fact because I've talked to some of the companies, and they said, these people over in China don't know what they're building. They don't own a car. They don't know what an alternator is. All they know is they call it alternator. They wouldn't know what it does. We've done a terrible job in this country, of doing that kind of stuff. So we got to – profit's not a dirty word. I don't know how we got there, but we don't care other than the bottom line. And it's affecting a lot of industry, pharmaceuticals, automotive, farming. It's affecting us all, and there's not an answer that I could even where to start. It's not a Tennessee problem. It's a federal problem.
And I agree with you. I think it is a federal issue, and I think we have some things going in the right direction federally now. Some of those
we do.
We've got to push it harder on the state version. I think. I hear folks talk about small hog farms or small cattle farms.
Right. There's
a push to put that out of business. There's a whole lot of gentlemen who own 100 cows that aren't really cattle farmers.
In my area where I live, sir, there used to be, and I live in the breadbasket of Henry County, Cottage Grove. It's a big farming community. You could say that belongs to Mr. Fritts, that belongs to Mr. Weatherford, that belongs to Mr. Davis, that belongs to Mr. Now it's 1 or 2, 3 or 4 people owns all of it.
Yeah, so let me finish what I was saying there a moment ago because I don't want to send the wrong message. We have a lot of people that have 50 or 100 head of cattle that are not really farmers. They're rich in something else, and owning a few cows is their hobby. it's much different for that person who's making a living on those cattle. I'll offer you this, something I think that we're missing, and I think that all of the state should be acting against this. I think that all of the farm bureaus and all ought to be pushing events. This whole fake meat thing that's taken hold across the world. The Bill Gates of the world don't mind if you eat bugs.
Yeah.
And your farmers, our farmers, cannot compete with these big corporations that are going to make for pennies on the pound something that looks like meat. It might even taste like meat.
They've tried it. It didn't work. They took beans and made that almost a hamburger, and Hardee's or somewhere made that. Yeah. I mean, come on. This is another rabbit hole. And I'm trying to get you out of here. You got a long drive. We've did it to ourselves. You know, I'm going to move on. Okay.
We have, and it's a steep climb out.
It is. It's a slippery slope no matter which way you go with that, because, you know, we've decided that we don't need to eat meat. It's bad for you. All them years you was taught quit eating red meat. Well, now they're coming out and saying it's not. And it was crazy.
Yeah. And so there's
what'd you say, Mayor?
There's two words.
Hold on. What'd you say? You'd run the cameras.
There's two words, I think, that answer most of what you're asking about, liberty and less government.
That's right.
And if we don't get to that approach, where that we empower the God-given liberty of the average Tennessean and pull government and its control and its continued taxation away, it's not going to get any better.
It ain't.
And it's going to be a little bit of a difficult adjustment to get to that.
It is. Homelessness is a growing state. It's a nationwide problem. Homelessness is. What can the state and the governor's office do to improve that and improve? We already hit on a little bit affordable housing, but homelessness is coming a big thing.
Yeah, it is. And that growing up, you and I probably never saw it. I never saw it in Roane County.
Never seen it in Henry County until the last, I don't know how many years. It's not been that long.
Yeah. So I think two things. This might blow some of your viewers' minds. I think some of that is we have fallen so away from God's will that that's the consequence of our sin. We've killed so many babies in America that I think God has removed his hand of blessing in some ways. And I think there's going to be there is a need for us to repent and turn back to him. I think when you see people living homeless on the street, many drug-related, many mental illness-related, sometimes there's a crossover from that. And occasionally you'll see just a young person who's chosen to do this for whatever reason.
Right.
As I've studied more in this, and I wouldn't have realized this, people become homeless for a period of time. They have a hard time coming back into living in a home or in a room.
They don't like structure.
And it takes a while to acclimatize them back into that.
When we was talking earlier about $27 an hour, how can a homeless person that has no skills get $27? Now here's something
and then you see the couple or the mom or the dad that's lost everything. And they're homeless. They're without a home because they're living in their car, maybe, if they've got a car.
Yeah.
And that's another category, folks.
What can the state do?
I think, again, liberty and less government is an answer to all of this. It ain't easy.
Right.
It ain't easy, but I think that's the
answer.
There's
no magic wand, and I realize that, and I think the listener realizes there's no magic wand, but what we're doing now is not working.
It's not. And a friend of mine in Memphis said this to me recently, and he's talking about incentives for people to live in supplemented housing, where these are his words, and from Memphis, he said, I've got folks living in an apartment next to me that are paying $150 a month, and I'm paying $2,500 a month. He said, you've got to stop giving stuff away to people.
Right.
There has to be skin in the game for things.
You got a point.
And as a culture, we've done too much of that.
We have. We've debuilt it. We have created a lot of dependence. I understand it. Now, here's something that's really dear to my heart: mental illness. I've lost a couple of close friends. One of them was Junior Staggs. Him and I had done a lot on this show. We raised a lot of money for charities. Him and I, he's an auctioneer, and he was a singer-songwriter. You name it, you can put that feather in Junior's hats. He was very, very talented. But he had a mental health, and he could not. And he helped other people, but he couldn't help himself. Yeah. What can you do as the governor to help with our mental health? And also our police and our court system has to deal with that. What would you, Monty Fritts, as governor, do say in the first 100 days, if I was hounding you, we got a mental health problem, and we do have one. What would you think the government could do to help?
We do, and I think there's a couple things that need to backdrop that, Mike. I think it can happen to anybody. If Elijah in the Bible, who stood on Mount Carmel and defeated the 450 Baal prophets and then outran Ahab and Jezebel back to Jezreel, and 3 days later basically asked the Lord to take his life. If it can happen to Elijah, that despair, it can happen to any of us. And so, as we were talking earlier, I think part of it's having frank, standard conversations with our friends about it and encouraging one another. From the government perspective of it, I think we have to realize two things. I think that some of it is mental health, some of it is drug-related, and some of it's demonic possession. I think that we have a poor gentleman getting on the interstate at 24, and he's crawling up the on-ramp almost completely naked, barking like a dog. It's a sad thing to see that in human beings. And
that's probably drug-related.
It may be.
Self-medication. A lot of time and I hate to butt in, but that's dear to my heart. When you're turned down, there's no avenue. And I'm going to preach a second, if I may. When you and I was kids, we were about the same age. We was taught mental illness, put it in the backyard, hide it, don't talk about it, keep it under locks and don't say anything about it. Well, we need to make mental health just like heart attacks, cancer, diabetes, and all. Mental health has got to take that stigma out of it, because you got to know what you're fighting, or you can't fight it. Am I making any sense? We've got to bring it out and say it is an illness. Now, there is some ways around it. There is some drug-related and self-medication where they don't get, but we're losing good people to a condition that we wouldn't stand for if it was cancer, heart. We've done away with a lot of your cigarettes and stuff because of cancer, but if mental illness is taking people left and right, and I don't believe in a lot of government control, but there's something that can be done. I had a show last week on this same subject, mental health and homelessness, and their hands are tied, sir.
I think if you talk to most of your sheriffs,
they are,
they'll tell you that some high proportion of the number, 20%, 30%, depends on who you talk to, of the inmates they have in the jail probably need mental health help rather than just
and there's no beds. There was 1,100 in our district, and now it's down to 150.
Yeah.
And you got thousands of people needing them beds, and the sheriff said, I have to be the mental health center. That's just one thing that bothers me. But is there anything the governor can do to help that?
I think so. I think that we've probably done some stuff to try to help with that now and putting more resources in. I actually think that's one of the things that Tennessee's not doing so badly on, to try to get resources in place.
Yeah. But
again, it's going to be a long answer to fix that.
But we got to start. If you got to walk 100 miles, it starts with what? First step.
Yeah. And I would offer this too. That is a spiritual problem. Back to the point I was making, it's probably going to wig some people out to hear this. But we will not find a legislative or budgetary solution to absolutely fix that. Until there's a repentance in America,
I agree with you.
We will not fix that.
I agree to an extent, but we can, as good stewards, reach out to our fellow man and make mental health a priority in this country.
Sure.
And I think you agree.
And every individual's got the opportunity to do that right now.
School vouchers.
Yep.
You support it?
I voted against it.
Is it doing what they wanted to do?
It's unconstitutional.
Okay.
Article 11, Section 12 does not permit us to do what we did with that.
Okay. And is it accomplished the goals the governor wanted?
I don't know what the governor's goals were, to be honest with you. The way that whole thing come out, you've got 20,000 kids that are getting money. Mm-hmm. Don't blame the parents for asking for it.
Is it coming out of the lottery?
It's coming out of the fund. It's coming out of state dollars, right? Okay. I think you ought to just group it in one, because if you get into the which bucket, it becomes a diffusion. It's coming out of your pocket.
Yeah,
and so we're going to give $7,300 to some kids that were already going to private schools. Right. We're going to give $7,300 to some kids that were in public schools and left the public school and went to private school, a smaller number.
Yeah.
And then we're going to continue to give $7,300 to that school they just left.
So that's that's $14,600. We just doubled the cost of education
On that child.
Right.
We did.
Yeah.
We didn't make any sense. I understand there's going to be a push to double that this year. Again, I'm going to stick with it's unconstitutional. We shouldn't be doing
understand. I'm trying to quickly run through them. You can tell that. Gun rights, where you at?
Yeah, I'm an absolutist on all of our Bill of Rights. These people I spoke earlier, these politicians that think they get to control your rights, they've assumed the position of God. It's not only a constitutional crime, but it's a great sin.
It is.
And back to the mental illness, back to some of the other things I talk about being a spiritual problem.
Right.
As long as we have people in office that think that they can assume the authorities of God by taking your rights away from you arbitrarily or deciding what they are, it's a form of idolatry. It's rampant in politics. We need to get rid of it. Our founders understood that it was all about Almighty God.
They was young men, our founders of our country and our state. They're 21-year-olds, 19-year-olds, 30-year-olds. They was young men. And they was pretty sharp, wasn't they?
Well, they had a little bit different approach in education. We have missed some of that. We have had both parties have brought in education systems and things from Common Core to whatever that have encouraged the additional college and the entitlement of college, right? Because that's
now
part
we
of what you
pay
were
college football players. I mean, that's another. There's a lot of rabbit holes. Have you enjoyed it?
Yes, sir.
Is it different than any interview you've done before? Kinda. It's more of a conversation, wasn't it?
Yeah.
What would you want to say to my viewers to get them to, when they go to the polls, to nominate their Republican? What would you like to tell them? Oh, there's a camera right over there somewhere. Tell them, what would you like to tell them, Mr. Fritts?
If you're happy with the way things are going in Tennessee, you'll have other choices. If you're happy with continuing to take your dollars and see the budgets continue to grow, you'll have other choices other than me. If you're okay with someone who went to D.C. to change it, yet allowed D.C. to change them, you'll have a couple other choices for this. If you're okay with a Nashville establishment that thinks that your rights really don't matter, that they can decide who can and cannot carry a firearm, if you're okay with folks deciding whether you can control the erosion on your farm or not, if you're okay with that, you'll have other options. We can continue the status quo. If you want somebody to yank the reins back on this runaway horse in Tennessee and make Tennessee what it's supposed to be, leave more money in your pocket, recognize that our rights come from Almighty God, recognize that we are stewards and bound by the limits of the Constitution that work in government, I'm your choice. If you want liberty and less government, vote Fritz.
There you go. Hey, I appreciated it.
Yes, sir.
We covered a lot quickly. I had to push it through there at the end, but I think we covered a lot.
Yes, sir.
I think I got the questions that I wanted to ask, and I think you got the answer like you wanted to. Did I interrupt you too bad?
A little bit.
Is it too bad?
No.
That's good. I knew that. I like to interrupt them. All right, folks, let's go. We got you on the board right here. Here we go. Tell me what we got here. Monty?
That's our website. You'll see, again, liberty and less government. That's what I'm all about. You can go to our website, fritzfor10.com. You'll see all of our social media sites on there. We'd ask you to follow us on social media. And if liberty and less government is something that's important to you, Mike, I'd ask you to tell 10 people who will tell 10 people.
Right. That's how I go. There's all your stuff listed down there. You can go find him. You can even donate. You find out about him. There he is, Monty Fritts. He's wanting to run to be your.
Hey, you just passed a picture. You're going down now. That's that happened to be right there, up a couple. You see me in
uniform.
I'm fishing in the Tigris River.
Go back down, protect the innocent life right there.
Right there.
Wow.
Yeah, that was actually
in Iraq.
That was in Saddam's. We were told Saddam's mother's palace on the Tigris River. We did about 270 patrols while I was there, and the MWR actually would allow us to. They'd loan us fishing poles to fish in there. So
now, did y'all treat that river? That looks pretty good for a war-torn country. The color of that river.
The palaces were pretty nice.
Yeah, I'm talking about the river itself.
I don't know what caused that color.
Okay, it looks clean, don't it? I would assumed over there it would be after wars and all that. It would be just poisoned up and looking awful, but that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Right, Mr. Fritts, man, I appreciate it.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate your time.
Yes, sir.
tonight.
We had a good time,
Yes,
and
sir.
answered a lot of questions, and people's got to go vote.
Yes, sir. They do.
Yep.
All
right, folks, we've been sitting here talking with Monty Fritts. He wants to be your Republican nominee for governor. That comes up in August. I don't know exactly the date. Do you know that date? 6. I thought it was August the 6th is coming up, and he wants to be your nominee for governor. And then the election comes up in November. That should be a pretty interesting November election this year. It's going to be a pretty good election, I believe. There's a lot of.
There's a lot on the line.
A lot on the line, yes, state and federal. So you don't want to miss that. If you haven't participated in our elections lately, I'm going to suggest you do, because that's the only thing you've got right now is your vote, and I suggest you use that, because we're in some trying times, folks. I mean, we've been going one way for 4 years, and now we're starting the other way, and there's people kicking and screaming, not liking it, and so there's going to be some opposition out there on everything going on. So now's the time to go vote. But I want to thank Monty again for coming in, and I want to tell you, the viewer, that it's what we try to do right here, man, is we try to get you the information so you can wisely make your mind up, because nothing more important in my mind than elections. And the governor, if you live in Tennessee, which, that's where I hope my viewers is all across the country. I know they are, but if you live in Tennessee or have family in Tennessee, that's kind of top notch, the governor. There's nothing above that. We don't have no kings or queens or anything like that. So it's very important, and you need to pay attention to who you've got running, what they stand for, and what they align with. And hey, don't forget, coming up next week, I got a great show. I've got Merry Music, Friends, and Christmas. I need to do a better job about looking at these promos before I see them. I got special guest Tommy Akers. He's got a new album out. He's going to come in and sing some of them songs right here live on the Mike Weatherford Show, along with Terry Hudson from the Breakers down here. Like I said earlier, I'm going to try to get some early surprise on who they got coming in down there. And Andy Lundberg, my friend, he's going to be here. Dr. Lundberg will be in here. He'll be helping me talk about these musical. He is a heck of a musician himself, and not only is that, he's a surgeon. So hey, he's a cutting on your body today and singing you a song tonight. So hey, that's pretty cool. It's going to be coming up live right here on the Mike Weatherford next Tuesday, December 23rd at 7 p.m. You don't want to miss. It's going to be a great show. And also, anything else, Kevin? Yes, sir. Don't forget Sportscast coming up the 21st. Christmas Spectacular. Gordon Hyatt, Raymond Duran, and Luke Brown. I don't know what it's about. I wish I knew more about it, but it's going to be a great show. I don't see anything on there, Tim. Just guys talking sports is what God just told me in my ears. So that's what you want to tune into coming up Sunday, December the 21st at 7:30 p.m. right there live on Sportscast with Jeremy Buckaloo. Don't forget, over at Tennessee Informer, Islam Down Under, how radical Islamists are making gains while the government does nothing. Greg Hearn to be here talking with Dave Vance. You don't want to miss it. He's over on YouTube. Find him, follow him, and pay attention to what's going on in our state, our county, and our country especially. Hey, that's going to be a great show. You don't want to miss it. Coming up Monday, December 22nd, 7 p.m. All right, folks, we've had a great show tonight. Hey, I want to thank my guys in the back, Kevin, Scott, Dana, and all of them back there. Without them, I couldn't do what I do, which really I don't know what I do. I just sit up here and talk, and I want to thank you, the viewer, for tuning in. Hey, if you haven't done it yet, tell your family, tell your friends, follow us, subscribe to us on all the platforms. Tell them, hey, we always got great shows. I want to thank my sponsor. Without y'all, I couldn't do what I do. So, like I always say, tune in next week, same time, same place. And like I always say, don't be late. The Mike Weatherford Show is recorded live in the Brewer Street Mafia Studios in downtown Paris. A Kill Media, Brewer Street Mafia Productions.